Hello and welcome to Joleedo Gamescast. Today we're talking about E3 with impressions from the show floor. And today I have Derrick Dover.
Hey, what's going on?
And Alex Lee.
Hey, hey.
So let's get started. All right, Derrick, you were at E3. Tell us about it.
Another E3 has come and gone, my friends. Yes, it is. It is sad that the final day is finally gone. But it was a really good show. It was it was a good show, but I'll have to admit I was a little disappointed. It seemed like the flair and the pizzazz just wasn't there this year. It seemed a little dead. There were a lot of people that were noticeably missing. A lot of developers, publishers that were noticeably missing.
So this was like the first year in it feels like forever where like we had big companies, third party companies that were gone.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
So all right. So what was it like? Because in years past, like I've been there a couple of times. You've been there the last 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
And like when I was there, like it was pretty packed. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, and like EA, for me, the 2 times I went, EA saved E3 for me, just because like they have so much stuff to see, and it's pretty easy to get hands on. But this year EA is gone. They had their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in the West Hall, which is where most of the third parties hang out.
Right.
What was that like? Because EA was gone, Activision, I believe, was gone. Sega wasn't there, right? They had to rely on probably Atlas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I think you were saying the Giant Bombcast guys just found a spot in the back, just an empty spot on the carpet in the West Wing where they could do some recording. Yeah, it was really strange. Just you walk past, I guess, like the second row of big booths, and then all of a sudden there's just all this empty space in the back.
I think on the Giant Bombcast, I think it was Brad Shoemaker who was talking about how there was just so much room in the aisles this year. Like clearly, people seemed a little, or companies seemed a little more spaced apart, and there wasn't really the crowd.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad. Like, it was nice actually being able to walk around without, rubbing elbows with everyone around you. So like that was nice, but it was noticeably quieter. And I feel like there was a lot more this year that was behind closed doors. So you have more space, less people,
but less.
I'll say less media. They really cut down on the media that was allowed in.
Really?
So less media, and somehow it seemed like there was more general public there than what I'm used to. And
now for someone who might be listening and they haven't been to E3 before, and they may not know much about it, like E3, this is an industry and media event, basically. Mm-hmm. However, in the last few years, it's been a little more packed with regular people. That's a terrible way to put it. With non-industry members, either via like contests, like they win a contest and they get brought in, or they're working at retailers who allow them to get in. It's not the audience that it used to be.
Oh, how dreadful. E3 is packed with commoners.
That's not what I meant. But I mean, I think as someone who, my time spent like the last 10 years or more, like looking at the games industry, like E3 is this like huge, exciting event. And when I first went, like it was big, it was exciting. There was a ton of stuff going on. But last year it's kind of waned.
So how much do you guys think of this as the kind of the tendrils and the effects of the Penny Arcade Expos popping up all over the U.S.?
I think the main thing is that these big companies are just realizing. Yeah, first of all, there are a lot of conventions that are popping up, and companies just can't go to all of them. It's just not financially feasible for them to go to every event. But you have these big companies who are seeing others being successful, pulling out and doing their own thing. Because when they do that, they get, even if it's a day or two or a week, they get time where the media just focuses on them. As opposed to E3, where, it's so easy to get lost in this tidal wave of games and announcements and everything else. So, I love E3. I love the fact that, we have this event where all the companies, developers, publishers, console makers, everybody gets to come together. As a fan, I love that. But I understand the business aspect of it. I understand them wanting to have their own thing. Where they can be the spotlight, they can be the center of attention. So it is understandable. I think it's probably going to continue going this way. PlayStation's already has their PlayStation experience, which was immensely popular and very successful. Nintendo has had a great response from all the fans and public with their. I just had a brain fart. Not Treehouse. Treehouse is the live event at the show. Directs. Yeah, they're Nintendo Directs. I think we're going to see more and more of that, and slowly E3 is going to become more and more irrelevant. I think it'll always exist in some way, but they're trying to transform, which is why we saw this year they did have the separate event for the public where you could buy tickets and non-media, non-industry people could go and experience a little bit of E3. Not like the main floors, but they had a separate event. So I think you're going to see that continue to grow a little bit next year or in the next coming years. But E3 will be there. It's just not what it was.
Yeah, I think Derrick's right. And from the standpoint of the companies, especially the smaller companies or even, scaled up to companies like EA, there are so many more opportunities to communicate with your audience. When E3 started, it was born out of CES. And it became video games became so popular and sought out at CES that it made sense to branch off and do their own event. But the internet changed things. Social media has changed things. The way people consume information, how the information is, carried through different sources and outlets. And, EA doesn't need to be on anyone's stage to talk about the next Battlefield.
Yeah.
They could tweet it out and it immediately goes to, the majority of people that would be paying attention during an EA press conference at E3. So I think that's part of it. They don't need to be there anymore. It's a big cost. And personally, you don't need the traditional media or journalist outlets to play your games and tell everyone what they think anymore.
Right.
Getting it into the hands of players or, big personalities on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter, that might be more important. In communicating your goals for the year, your projections, your big announcements. So I don't think E3 is dead or is even dying, but they will have to change, and they've started to change. The E3 Live, I believe, is what that was called, the big non-industry event where fans could come in. I don't know the success of that yet. I don't know if the group that manages E3 has talked about that, but I think that, that might be the future. Pushing demos and betas to players might be more important. Because it used to be that for the most part, non-tech, non-game blogs and sites, they would cover E3 because of how big it was. And a lot of those sites either cover games now or you don't need them anymore. So, yeah, I don't think it's dead. I think it must change. And from what I've heard, it was quite the year. Not as impressive as in the past, but maybe not. Maybe all the people just ran over to the Nintendo booth to get in line for Zelda.
I know that Stampede footage.
Yeah, man, that was just crazy. I don't even know what to say to that. It was bizarre. The line for that was ungodly, and I mean, I guess it was worth it for those people, but that's a long. I mean, a lot of those people were there waiting for like 5 hours.
Oh man,
they literally wasted their entire day just standing in line to get up and play Zelda. And of course, they got the shirt, and then there was a little Zelda coin.
Yeah. Worth it.
Yeah, that was a really nice collector's coin. No, that was
what was the Nintendo booth like? Because you didn't get a chance to check out The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Jason, my friend.
Yes.
The Zelda booth was glorious.
Really?
It was absolutely incredible. They had the wilderness on one side. They had a castle on the other. Like they made it so that literally Nintendo booth every year has been like, Donkey Kong over here and Mario over here and the Pikmin over here and a little Zelda thing over here.
Yeah.
So because they went, all in on this one game, the whole booth was. Is it? I don't even know. Can I? Have they said Hyrule? I don't even know if it's Hyrule. It's whatever the world is that they're going to have. So I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if they've actually said the word Hyrule.
So whatever the world is, that's how they made the booth look, and it was so cool. And they had these huge statues for the automated guardian that looks like looks like a old antique. I don't even know what it looks like.
Like
the big squid looking thing.
Yeah.
So they had Link kind of jumping up, shooting his arrow into one of those, and then they had one of the goblins up on top of his little post attacking him, and it was a really, really cool booth. Of course, Nintendo always has really great stuff, but
Nintendo's always been a highlight.
Mm-hmm. Nintendo did a great job.
I got to go through the gameplay and then watch others play. It's really exciting. Like, I mean, I've never been unhappy with a Zelda game ever.
Yeah.
And I'm totally on board with what they're doing. The only thing that I was wondering about, and I actually had a discussion with someone about this today, and maybe I'd have to go back and play some of the more recent Zeldas to kind of clear my memory, but it feels like in a lot of the Zeldas there was always like constantly action, like you're constantly fighting some enemy.
Sure.
And because this world is so vast and so big, it feels like there's a lot of downtime between doing something, if that makes sense. Between entering a dungeon or fighting the enemies, there's just a lot of just empty walking.
Now is that concerning to you? And like Zelda is a big topic to cover because of how this iteration has really switched up the formula, and I think we might be able to go into like a greater extent and detail maybe in the next Gamescast. But since you mentioned is it too open? Is this Zelda too open of an open world?
I don't know yet. Just having a brief moment with it is just not enough. Because I can see where, maybe having that big empty space and just exploring could be, I guess, is cathartic the right word? I guess you could say.
Okay, yeah.
Where you just kind of have this nice peaceful moment to go explore and stuff. But I don't know, my all my memories when I think of Zelda, I don't think of the more recent ones. I always go back to the originals for NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy. Like those are
Sure.